performance. If you watch the 2004 ACM Big and Rich performance, I'm on the cannon, on the back of the cannon that shoots out the confetti at the end. You can just barely see me. And Mark said that he was in the truck with Rack Clark. Rack is Dick Clark's son. Has taken over a lot of the producing responsibilities. Dick Clark is like your version of Ryan Seacrest. He does everything. He did everything. And Rack has sort of taken over the reins. Right. And Mark said, Rack said, "Who in the hell's that?" when I was back there on the cannon, because it just sort of slipped me into the performance. Well, that led to me coming to Fanfare that year. Again, just hanging out, and the guys said, "We're getting ready to go on tour with Tim McGraw. You're welcome to come to some shows." So me being the person I am, I dialed up on my internet at that time, which super slow. And I mapped out 5 shows that I could drive to around. I'm from Indiana, from Seymour, Indiana. So I went to the Cincinnati show, Indianapolis, Detroit, Chicago, and Milwaukee. Tim McGraw with the Warren Brothers and Big and Rich. And the last show, what I was doing was I was driving to the city, getting a hotel room, going to the show, again, all on my own accord, hanging out at the show, going back to the hotel, getting up the next morning, driving. They were all about 6 hours apart. At the last show, the guys are like, "Hey, we really like having you out here, but how are you getting to shows?" I said, "Oh, I'm driving. It's all good." They said, No. Next time you want to come to a show, come to Nashville. We've got a 12 bunk open on the bus, and you can hop on and ride with us." And I was like, "Done." That's all that needs to be said. So I would go out for a week or two at a time, or a run or two at a time. And
so how are you making a living?
Well, I was the real estate business, and I don't know if you consider that making a living, but I was getting by through the business. My brother was manning the fort there in Seymour, and somewhere along the way, several shows in, the Warren Brothers, Brad and Brett Warren, said, "Hey, Two-Foot," and this was late one night, imbibing in a dressing room somewhere in the Midwest. They said, we need all the help we can get. Would you want to come out and introduce us on stage?" I said, "Absolutely." So the next day, I went out and they had a mic set up for me, and I introduced the Warren Brothers. Well, a few shows into doing that, and again, I'm just doing this on my own. Right. A few shows into that, John and Kenny, Big and Rich, said, why are you not doing that for us?" And I said, I will do it for you. So I started doing that for Big and Rich. And then they said, would you want to come out and be on stage while we sing "Save a Horse Ride a Cowboy"? So I started doing that. And then it was a Bud Light sponsored tour, and so the Bud Light guy let me start taking Tim used to, during a certain song, would drink, and we would pour about half of it out. That's a little trade secret. His out, not mine. But I would go out there and cheers Tim and drink a full Bud Light on stage, and go back out. So I was getting to be on stage, 4 times during a Tim McGraw summer tour. So I was extremely happy. But again, it was on my own time. And then the second leg of the tour, they wanted to know if I wanted to come out, be part of the show. Right. Again, on my own choice, not getting paid, and I agreed, of course.
Sounds like you're in internships, right? Yeah.
Very much so. I was getting paid in beer and we'll say beer.
Right.
But for a kid from small town Indiana, this was pretty cool stuff. So then it was kind of assumed that I would go out on the Brooks and Dunn tour in 2005, and I brought up the scenario of being paid. Well, you guys may or may not know that opening acts don't make a whole lot. If anything, sometimes the opening acts pay to be on tours, and then they make their money from merchandise sales. And Big and Rich weren't too far from that. They were getting paid a little bit, but they're basically making their money on merch. And so I brought up the concept of being paid for the 2005 tour. And they said, we management was said, we love having you out, but unfortunately the guys are not in a position to pay you right now. I said, well, that's fine. I still want to do it. I said, but could I sell a piece of merchandise on the tour? And they said, well, let's ask Brooks and Dunn, the tour people running the tour. So they asked Brooks and Dunn's management, and they said, no, really, we've got too many items as it is, and it'd be pretty difficult for you to sell an item. So I said, I still want to do it. I still want to go out. So I did. A few shows in, I said something to John Rich about it. And he said, why don't you, when the time's right, why don't you say something to Kix and see if he'll let you, sell a T-shirt, do the T-shirt idea. So that was a Coors Light sponsored tour. So I had a few Coors Lights in me and happened to be on Kix's bus one night. And I said, Kix, can I ask you something? And he said, yeah, buddy, what's up? I said, I'm not making anything out here, and I'm spending gas money going back and forth to Nashville. And he said, you mean John Rich isn't paying you? I said, no, but that's okay. It's all good. I want to be out here. He said, well, what can I do for you? I said, well, I don't want you to pay. I'm not asking for you to pay me. I said, can I sell a T-shirt out here on the road? And Kit says, well, who said you can't? I said, well, management talked to each other, and I didn't really want to cause a big ruckus, and they decided probably it wasn't a good idea. He said, no. He said, you can sell a T-shirt on one condition. I said, anything. Yes. What? He said, you better wait for my condition. I said, well, what? And he said, I get the first shirt. So I had T-shirts made up that had 2 foot front in the front. They were tie-dyed. Some of you may have seen them in pictures. I threw the first one on Kix's bus, and then proceeded to sell enough, a few $100 a night, which for me was pretty good money, and got my parents off my back on what I was doing, gallivanting around the country on a tour bus when I had this business at home I should be attending to.
So how did all of that then lead to more substantive kinds of deals in the music industry?
Well, it was very organic. That led to eventually Big and Rich creating a position for me called Ambassador of Attractions for Big and Rich, which I'm still trying to figure out what exactly that job description is. I think it's everything under the sun. But my position really was to work with radio people, which I learned very quickly. There was a dynamic where I had a few phone calls from label people saying, "What the hell are you doing?" Talking to this radio guy or that radio guy. So I learned very quickly the politics in the entertainment business between radio and the record label and the artist. At that time, payola was still going on hot and heavy, and they didn't want me in there messing anything up. So I kind of, got my tail between my legs a few times, and so I really just became a point person for Big and Rich. I was accessible to the fans. I was really an access point, if you will. I kind of ran the fan club. I wasn't exactly a fan club president, but I was a point of contact for people with the fan club. People needed meet and greets. Just an all-around ambassador for the guys. And then and continue to go on the road and really expanded my MC duties on the road, as well as if the guys were split up or couldn't do a phoner or something for a radio station, I would kind of step in and be that mouthpiece for it.
It sounds like you built the career as much on the relationships as anything that you built over time.
I really did, and the relationships, I pride myself now as being a dot connector. Relationships, I had the opportunity very early on to meet and become friends with people in this industry, in the entertainment industry, that it takes oftentimes many years to build. And what I mean by that is I became friends with label heads and people in trade organizations, CMA, ACMs, people at CMT, just every nuance, every nook and cranny of the entertainment business, I have built relationships with. So now my job is kind of morphed, if you will. I still go on the road. I still MC shows. As many of you know, Big and Rich have been kind of on and off of a hiatus. We are doing a Big and Rich tour this summer, June through October, which I'll be a part of. And actually, this is my first time that I'm actually on the bill. It's the Extreme Music Tour with Big and Rich, Gretchen Wilson, featuring Cowboy Troy and 2 Foot Fred. So I'm proud of that. After 7 years, I'm finally on the ad mat.
Right, you'll be in the hatch print.
Yes,
yep.
I will be. And so, you know, but I'm kind of finding I call myself a unicorn in this business because coming from the business side of things, becoming an entertainer, most entertainers are musicians and creative people and music people first that get shoved into being a business person that they don't necessarily want to be. And that's oftentimes why they get taken by people that know the nuances of business. I feel very blessed that I was a creative businessman, hence the entrepreneurship, that got the opportunity to become an entertainer. So I see a lot of opportunities where other people in our business don't necessarily see them. When I say our business,